Hi, my name is Kevin from the Verizon Risk team, and today I'm going to show you a few ways to take the raw data from the Veris Community Database repository and put them into a local Mongo database for analysis. The incidents in VCDB are distributed as text files containing JSON, which is how Mongo stores records, so this is a natural fit. Mongo is also well supported by R, Python, and Ruby, so you'll have a lot of options to work with if you follow this tutorial. The first thing we want to do is clone the repository into our server or into our computer so that we've got the individual incident files to work with. I'm going to start by going to the GitHub site where all of the incidents are located. So here at GitHub, I'm just going to grab this URL right here. And then back on the server, it's a simple matter of typing git clone the address. And there you go. Now, if I do a quick listing, you can see I have a folder called Veris. And if I go into this Veris folder, there's a folder called VCDB. If I go into the VCDB folder, there's the list of all of the incidents that are in the Veris Community Database right now. You can see I have about 1,219. It's actually a little less than that. So that's how many incidents we have at the time of this recording. If you cloned the GitHub repository to the same machine where your Mongo server is, then the easiest way to put the incidents into the database is to use the Mongo import command, because that'll be on the machine if the Mongo server is running there. Here I have a simple bash shell that I ran that'll just take all of the .json files in that folder and pipes that into the Mongo import command. I'm going to put this into a database called Kevin because I'm sharing the server with other people and I don't know, I didn't want to put into a generically named database because somebody else might be using that. And then I have a collection called VCDB. So this is the command I used, and it started at 15:51 and 35 seconds, and to go through everything took almost a minute, just shy of a minute, to import all of those incidents into the database. Another way that you can put the data into Mongo is to do it with a Python script of some kind. So let me show you how we might do that. Since I'm sharing this server with other people, I want to set up my own instance of Python. I don't want any custom libraries that I decide to install to potentially interfere with the other people on my server. So I'm going to use virtual environment to set up my own Python instance in a folder called venv. And you can see that goes really quickly. There's a command which I'll source out of that directory called activate. And now I get over here at the front of my prompt, I have this little venv thing to tell me that I'm using a different Python. Also, if I type which Python, you can see now that I'm going to be pulling this out of a subfolder. I'm going to be using a library called PyMongo to interface with the Mongo database, and I need to install that, so I'll do that with pip. And as you can see, that's a very quick and easy setup. And now if I go into Python, I'm ready to go. Okay, so I took a moment to clear out the database, so now I'm starting from scratch as if I had not done that Mongo import before. First thing I'm going to do is import my PyMongo library. I'm also going to import JSON because I'll be using that later. And now I need to set up my server connection. So I'll say server equals PyMongo connection to localhost. I'm going to have a database on there, which I'm again going to call Kevin. And then I'll have a collection, which is kind of like a table on that database. I'll call that VCDB. As I mentioned before, each of the files in the Veris Community Database is a JSON object, and Python deals with JSON by treating it like a dictionary. So this is a built-in type. It's really easy for it to deal with. So I just picked one of those files at random, and I'm going to quick read it into an incident. So I'm going to say infile equals open. Go. And then to put that into an incident dictionary, I'll say incident equals json.loads infile.read. Now if I look at incident, there's a Python dictionary that holds that incident from that particular file. So then to put it into a database, it's a simple matter of going and calling the insert function on my collection and passing in the incident that I just created, and it returns to me the object ID, so that's how I know that it was actually inserted into the database. And if I do call find one, I'll get back that incident was put in. So now I know that this is in the database. And so you can see that then to put all of those files into the database, it's just going to be a simple matter of looping through all of the .json files in that folder and doing an insert. To make that easier for you, we actually wrote a script. It's in the bin folder of the Git repository, and it's called into mongo.py. As you can see, we have some constants that are set up here, so the server is going to point to localhost. You can change these to be whatever applies in your organization, and then it's going to walk through and do the insert. So here I'll do and as you can see, that finished in about 1.5 seconds. And now that I've finished running that script, I can just use the count command to see that I do have 1,218 incidents in the database now. So I know that my import is good. Another really elegant way to pull these JSON files into the Mongo database is to use Ruby. Ruby has excellent support for Mongo. Once again, since I'm sharing the server with other people, I'm using Ruby Version Manager to keep my instance of Ruby and my gem sets separate from the other people on the server. So you can see here I've created a gem set called Mongo for what I'm doing. So I'm going to go into the IRB. I'm going to use include Mongo just so that I don't have to type Mongo at the beginning of all of these. And now I'm going to set up my server connection. And now I have my collection set up, and I'm ready to start importing incidents. So now incident is stored as a Ruby hash, which is the equivalent of a Python dictionary. Now to insert that into the database, it's just a simple matter of doing call.insert incident. And I get back the object ID, so I know it's in the database. So then just like with Python, it's going to be a simple matter of looping through the files and inserting each one into the database. To help you if you want to do this in Ruby, we've also put in the bin directory a script called intomongo.ruby. And that's a simple matter. I'm going to time it. And as you can see, it does the same thing that the Python script did in a little bit less time. So it's a little more efficient, a little better. Okay, so we've shown you 3 different ways to take the raw JSON files and put them into a Mongo database so that you can start doing analysis on that with other tools. We'll have other screencasts coming up soon to show you some of the things you can do with the data once you have it into a Mongo database. Thank you.